Good evening, everyone. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, Middletown Patch, Middletown Township Public School District, and the posting of such notice at the August T. Minor Administrative Offices and each elementary, middle, and secondary school. Roll call.
Mrs. Caminiti? Here. Mr. Donlin?
Here.
Mrs. Farley?
Here.
Mr. Heffernan,
Here.
Mr. Little? Mrs. Minuis?
Here.
Mrs. Wright?
Here.
Mrs. Tobacco?
Here.
Mr. Capone?
Here. I need a motion now for executive session for matters of personnel and negotiations.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public School District website. And the posting of such notice of the August T. Minor Administrative Offices in elementary, middle, secondary schools in the district. Just a little update. The township has granted us an exclusion to the mask mandate for the Board of Ed meetings, so masks are optional right now. Amy, roll call.
Mrs. Caminiti,
Here.
Mr. Donlin,
Here.
Mrs. Farley,
Here.
Mr. Heffernan,
Here.
Mr. Little,
Here.
Mrs. Minuis,
Here.
Mrs. Wright,
Here.
Mrs. Tobacco,
Here.
Mr. Capone.
Here. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're a moment of silence for Patrick Lloyd, who passed away on November 8, 2021. Mr. Lloyd served the district as a security guard at High School North for service for many years and retired in 2016. He was a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps, a retired NYPD sergeant. We extend our deepest condolences to the Lloyd family. Donald McCow passed away January 8th. Mr. McCow served the district for 39 years as a physical education teacher at Thorne Middle School and retired in 2007. He was also a special police officer and later a Champlain of the Middletown Police Department. We extend our deepest condolences to the McCow family. Beverly Merrill Summers passed away on January 22nd, 2022. Ms. Summers retired after serving the district as a teacher at River Plaza Elementary School for many years. We extend our deepest condolences to the Summers family.
One nation.
We're going to start with our student speakers tonight. We have from High School North, Sophia Haber-Brock.
Hello, I'm Sophia Haber-Brock, and here are the highlights for January thus far. Starting off with TV film, congratulations to Jacob Waters and Cosmo De Niro for their short film Radio Silence, which was nominated for Best Kill at the 2021 Independent Horror Movie Awards. At the Top Indie Film Awards, Sound of Silence was nominated for Best Scare. The Film Club contest short Hugs, a New Jersey Legend was nominated for Best Writing and Best Atmosphere. Jacob Waters' short Whispers was nominated for Best Original Concept and Best Atmosphere. And Sophia Haber-Brock's documentary Movies 2021 won the No Budget Film Award and was nominated for the Best Documentary Short. Sophia also won Best Student Film at the New Jersey Film Awards. Randy Kalman and the Science Honor Society held a competition to collect bottle caps. Congratulations to winner Sean Carroll. This year, Middletown High School North not only had more students in the All-Shore Chorus than any other Monmouth or Ocean County high school, but we also had this year's scholarship winner and featured soloist. Congratulations to senior Shannon Salazzo for winning the 2022 All-Shore Chorus Scholarship, and to our choral director Peter Isherwood for his dedication and commitment to his students. Every January, the YMCA of Greater Monmouth County celebrates the mission of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through a community event, a high school essay contest, and scholarships for 2 local students who share their voices. Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech has influenced so many people throughout generations to fight for civil rights. This year, students responded to the prompt, "What is your dream? What challenges do you face? And what would it take to make your dream a reality for you today?" We are proud to announce our own Safa Embarki, grade 11, was one of the recipients. She will receive a $1,500 educational scholarship and a 1-year youth membership to the YMCA. She read her essay at a virtual event on Friday, January 14th. Also, to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Sophia Haber-Brock created a video uniting Mayor Tony Perry and students and staff from High School North and South to recite an excerpt from his famous I Have a Dream speech. This video can be seen on the North website and on the Middletown Township website and social medias. Congratulations to our girls shuttle hurdle relay team, featuring Katie Mayhew, Caitlin Peterson, Ashley Cunningham, and Haley Guerreri, and their coach Brock Silvestri for winning first place in the NJSIAA Relay Championships. It is the first state relay win in school history for Middletown North girls. Congratulations to all of our students who were inducted into the French, Italian, Latin, and Spanish Honor Societies on Thursday, January 20th. Special thanks and appreciation to their advisors, Miss Jones, French, Miss Fieldings, Italian, Miss Rath, Latin, and Miss Costas, Spanish, for coordinating the ceremony, and to the entire World Language Department for promoting the study of world languages. Chris Hoffman and Nick Trezza organized the Slam Dunk Autism Challenge at High School North with their basketball and softball teams. All proceeds were donated to the special education programs. Special thanks to our teachers, paraprofessionals, and students who make this event so special each year. Coaches Brock Silvestri and Ray Convey reported that Levi Wilson won first place in the high jump at the Monmouth County Championships. We held our Poetry Out Loud competition organized by Miss McGowan. Numerous students recited poems, and we had our winner, Rita Albana. Drama Club's spring musical, A Chorus Line, with advisor Miss Feria, held auditions, casted, and has started rehearsals. We look forward to seeing the show. Congratulations to Alexa Alberto, Lorelei Albajar, Rachel Dreyer, Danny Giglio-Bianco, Jaden McKnight, and Natalie Segura, whose scores at the DECA regional competition qualified them to compete at the New Jersey State competition in Atlantic City with their advisor, Susan Heater. That's it for this month. Thank you so much.
Now from High School South, Ryan Ferrigno.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Ferrigno, and I'm the president of Student Council at Middletown High School South. Today, I'll be talking about a few current events happening in our school. To start off, senior Oli Banerjee is the Daughters of American Revolution's chapter essay winner, and she will be advancing to the state competition. Next, 2021 graduate Fiona McGuire just received an appointment to West Point for the class of 2026. She is currently in military prep school in Alabama. Next is Anthony D'Antuano, grade 12, was selected third in the Central Jersey Music Educators Association's Regional Orchestra and Wind Ensemble. We would also like to congratulate Maura Collins, Darla Matches, Gabby DeRogeris, Ava Veluzzi, Chloe Davis, Andrea Roderman, Morgan Skasny, JT Anderson, Michael Sebring, Evan Falterman, and Steven Sassano. 6 of their films were selected to be screened at the Barrymore Film Center Short Film Festival in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Vote for your favorite film on their website. Winners will be announced on February 15th. Congratulations to Grace Wilson, Maura Collins, Jay Fielding, Erica Ridgway, Isabella Campion, Kirsten Prefer, Alicia Aponte, Steven Sassano, Joseph Costa, and Gigi Majorano. Their film, Submergent Sound A Guy Named Pete, was selected to be screened at this year's Garden State Film Festival as part of the Hometown Document series. The film will also be featured at this year's New Jersey School Boards in Atlantic City. Lastly, congratulations to Maura Collins and Darla Matches. Their film, The Love That Remains, was selected to be at the MacGuffin Film Festival in Moscow, Russia. And their film is one of 34 films from around the world that was selected to be screened. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sophia and Ryan. The presentation from Mr. Kirkpatrick, the hip.
Evening, everyone. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing the Higgs self-assessment score. The assessment is based on following criteria. This criteria. Take place. Personnel. Investigation process. All part of the score is based on the score indicator 0 means you're not meeting the requirement for that indicator. But 1 would be part of the requirement. The 2 would be meeting the requirement. Not exceeding the requirement. What's important to look at is the fact that if everyone just met the requirement for all the max, so next slide. Look at scores first. They're outstanding. These scores are traditionally what will happen is after the will also Are there any questions? Thank you for your attention.
Next up, Mr. Kerrigan, the Start Strong assessment results.
All right, thank you everybody for coming out. I'd like to report out on our fall 2021 Start Strong results. We just got them back in district and sent home reports to all parents. So I'd just like to provide some summary information and just a little bit more about what the test was and what we're doing with it. So as you know, the Start Strong was given in place of the NJSLA last spring. These were administered at the start of the school year in English language arts, mathematics, and science in select grades. And the purpose of the assessment was to get a handle on what students knew coming in from the previous grade. It was not meant to assess what they're learning right now, but rather provide a snapshot into what they were coming into their current grade and subject with. So when the test was developed, it was a short assessment using previously released New Jersey Student Learning Standards assessment questions. They were all multiple choice, so they were graded very quickly by the computer, and the teachers were able to get results instantaneously, and they were able to see the questions and the answers that individual students picked. This information was made available to our specialists or interventionists, teachers, etc., so they can really cater instruction to what students needed. They were administered in the class period, and the administration went very well. And I would like to thank Susan Clabber's office and her teachers for helping with such a smooth administration. As I mentioned before, the As I mentioned before, the Start Strong assessment in each grade covered standards in the previous grade. So as you see in this chart, a 4th grade Start Strong assessment covered grade 3 standards. The science assessments were a little tougher because in grade 6, it covered grades 3 through 5 science. So there were a couple years worth of science that were assessed on those particular assessments, but it was all about the classes. When looking at these results, again, it's all back to prerequisite skills and concepts, and this information was mainly used to drive differentiated instruction opportunities, spiraling. Teachers go back and hit topics over the course of a year to make sure students are on top of things. It was really used for instruction. It was not used so much for placement. These reports aren't being used to make placement decisions for students. It's more of a pulse check on when students are coming into class with. And we don't just use this. It's not good practice to just use one data point when making decisions about instruction. So this complements our other data points that we have available, like our linkage benchmarks, our local teacher assessments, their own tests and quizzes and projects that they make, attendance, etc. So this is just an example of the report that you should have gotten home if your student sat for a Start Strong assessment. Kind of looks like a speedometer, and it just shows where your student fell. Did they need a lot of support? Did they need a little support? Was it kind of in between? And underneath that, you got a little bit of a breakdown as to the different components that were assessed on each assessment. So I have a bunch of slides to reference at the end, and we'll make this available on the district website that give individual grades, subjects, and school level data. But I thought for the purpose of this presentation, it would be good to highlight a couple key takeaways. So of course, Middletown schools being as great as they are, we outperform the state on the number of students needing strong support. We didn't have as many as other school districts did on average. And we had more students needing less support than other school districts on average across the state. So that was, a really good look for our school district, our teachers, our students, our parents, our whole community. And that was especially the case of ELA and math. And, when we look at across all grade levels, that aggregate, the average of all the different tests put together, our math and ELA show that there aren't as many students who need strong support, and there are more students who need less. And then, there's individual fluctuation here and there too. Like our Algebra 2 came out slightly lower, but when we dug a little bit deeper, we realized, we weren't offering honors Algebra 2 this year due to our math resequencing, whereas other school districts did. So we saw a little bit of a difference there, but that's just one example. So we look to see why might this be the case? And there's always a difference. When we look across all, grade levels and schools and all that, we really want to focus in on where we're placing our resources and our capital. So as we look at our results, we use them to inform our spiraling, who we place in individual buildings, where we allocate our interventionists and coaches, how we spend our grant money, etc. And I know this year, in light of our Linkit results from last year, we did make some of those decisions when we brought on co-teachers and class size reduction teachers, things of that sort. So, this is something we definitely keep an eye on at all times. So maybe I can just show one informational slide, and then the rest will be up on the website. So due to our partnership with Linkit, we were able to get some comparative data with how our school did compared to other similar schools. Maybe you've heard the phrase district factor group. So Linkit gave us some information about how other schools in our state who are similar to us demographically performed on these assessments. And this is just one example slide of how we did in ELA. So if you look vertically, let's maybe take a look at the second column, grade 5 ELA. You see that 65% of students needed less support based on the Start Strong results. Right underneath it, you see in the state, for districts like us, the average was 62%. So we had more students needing less support in ELA grade 5. The red is strong support. So we came out at 14% of our students in grade 5 ELA needing strong support, but on average across the state in similar districts to ours, 18% of students needed strong support. So once again, we were lower on the strong support end and higher on the less support end in many grades and in multiple subjects. So if you want to take a look, I made a bunch of slides like this and also included some school level data. It's all there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But once again, I do want to thank the school community. It was a big effort on everyone's behalf to get the kids in and learning and keeping up with everything. And I think our students did a great job.
Sorry, Dr. Kerrigan, where's the presentation? It's on
We're
the,
going to put it on the district website.
and you mentioned Linkit and the Start Strong. Did the results, you said we made some decisions based on Linkit, right? So we didn't have SLA, right? So were they kind of in line in terms of what we thought? In terms of, we said there was some slippage, but overall light slippage, but individual students obviously are being addressed. based on their needs.
Yeah, so right when the test finished, I mean, there was a lag between when the test finished and when we got the reports.
Right.
The reports were mailed to us in mid-December.
Right.
But on the computer, the teachers and the specialists and the whole team were able to go in and go to the individual student's test and see what they chose, what standards they struggle with, and
Right.
which wrong answer they put. And we looked at that in a district data day and made plans at the classroom and school level to address what we were seeing. And we
Okay,
also use that in conjunction with the Lincoln data.
got it. And jive with the link at that data in
Yep.
terms of where we thought we were.
Sure. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kerrigan. Next, we have Mrs. Burt.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about the English Language Learner 3-year plan. It is a required plan by the New Jersey Department of Education. Our welcoming for our EL students, our English language learners, includes a couple different steps. So the first step is for them to get registered through Power School, and the parents or guardians fill out a home language survey. The home language survey is offered in English, and then if the parents request a native language, they can also offer it in the native language. And then we receive information from prior school districts on the students' student history and data. And we review all of that information, registration does, I do, the teachers do, in order to best support the students as they come into our classrooms. For the program plan type, we have 2 types in the district, that is ESL only and sheltered and structured environment for our English language learners. So the primary focus of this plan is to look at the areas of strength of the district, and then areas that we can continue to grow in. So one of the areas that we focus on, of course, for all students is to provide those equitable opportunities. Ways we do that is in regards to the collaboration and communication amongst all stakeholders. So we look at teacher articulation. Our ESL teachers are working with our classroom teachers, looking at data, planning lessons together, so that way they can best inform instruction for our English language learners. Master scheduling. The questionnaire asks about, do we look at all the different programs that students can enter? We always look at the master schedule to make sure that students are provided AP opportunities, the more rigorous courses. They have options just like every other student in the district. They have the same opportunities in regards to scheduling. And then same thing for extracurricular activities. They are open to everyone. They are accessible to everyone. So that's really important to note. And we also have Parent Advisory Council. A lot of people in the room are part of that. We meet quarterly in conjunction with the Parent Information Committee. We had our first meeting for the parent advisory portion in November. And it's a very collaborative group of stakeholders, parents, administration, some of our principals, our district administration, and we go over things and talk about like needs, the data within our districts, different grant opportunities that the district has had and how we're using those grant funds. And then our English language learners, supports for them, resources. And we also sometimes have a community aspect. For our first November meeting, we brought in the library. So they provided the resources, what technology resources they have, homework assistance that they can provide to the students. So we like to always try to have a community piece as well. And then a lot of our students at the high school level participate in the Seal of Biliteracy. And we did have 10 students receive the Seal of Biliteracy last year. And we just finished our administration this year. So we're finishing up analyzing the results. But we did have a good amount of students take it for this year. And I'll be reporting on, who met the requirements in the near future. Okay, district data. The questionnaire asks for specific data. So it gives you ranges. It's a multiple choice. So this is some of the questions that we're on in regards to our district K through 12 student size. We fell in between 2,500 and almost 10,000 students. We fell in the range of 10 to 99 students. It is important to note over the course of the 3 years that our population our English language learner population has been growing. We have 904 certified teachers for K through 12. And then we have, excuse me, 4 ESL certified teachers that are working directly with the students. We have more certified students in that particular area, but these 4 are, working with our ESL students every day. And then, like I had mentioned, we are looking at staffing and proposing, additional staffing because we are seeing the increase in our English language learner population, and we want to make sure that we're able to support them. Okay, the survey also goes over graduation rates. So as you can see, for all students' graduation rates, they all fall 97% or a little bit over for the past 3 years because it is a 3-year plan. And then we look at, in the middle is the graduation rate for current L students, and all years we were at 100%. And former L students, that means students who have exited the English language learner program, and that they were all at 100% for all 3 years as well. Okay, the data measures, of course, everything that we do in the district is very collaborative, involving all of our stakeholders and looking at multiple measures of data. So the survey asks when, we're serving all of our students, what types of data are you looking at? So we've listed different types, like Dr. Kerrigan just talked about, NJSLA, Start Strong, NAEP assessment, graduation rates, classroom grades. So these are all the different data measures that we look at when we make our informed decisions. Okay, academic achievement. So the question on the survey asked for the last year in which assessments were administered. We have lots of successes noted on the bottom. Our English language learner students were able to meet the ELA academic achievement indicator, the ELA program indicator, math progress indicator, the chronic absenteeism target, and 60.5% of L's in the district met the ELP indicator. Okay, in addition to the successes, areas of growth we noted was that L's did not meet the district indicator for math for the achievement indicator, and we're going to continue working on the absenteeism rate. Okay, when students take the WIDA access test, they look at 4 different domains: reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and those are noted on top. So as we looked at each of the individual levels of students, we noted where students may need additional support. And when we look at secondary, it does say all, because we do have a lot of newcomer students coming from other countries. So we noted that they may need some additional support in all areas of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. The time the students are in the program can vary from 5 to 7 years. And we have, right now, we have 54% of our students that exit in the past 3 years. And they exit by their WIDA access score. They have to score 4.5 or above on that annual exam. And then we also send out a data collection form to the guidance counselors, principals, to get their input. So we're looking at multiple measures when we make sure we exit the students, so we feel they're very supported when they exit the program. Okay, the average access ELP levels for 2021. So this is their English language proficiency. You can see as they start out, obviously in kindergarten and in the primary grades, they're learning those domains of reading and listening and writing. So the level is a little bit lower, but as they grow and as they go through the grade levels and they have that support, the levels are a lot higher. And they go up to 3.0 to 3.9, but those are just averages. Okay, the survey asks about what types of funding. So when we use state funds or local funds, that can be teacher salaries, instructional supplies, and textbooks. And then we also are supported with our ESEA grant funds, the Title III and Title III immigrant are exclusive to the English language learner population. So we're able to order specialized instructional materials to work with those students to help them succeed in the classroom. Okay, so again, the plan is all about growth. We have so many successes for our English language learners in the district, but we always have a plan because we can always do better. So some of the things that we are focused on is professional learning opportunities within the district, continuing our sheltered instruction approach, because that is one of the areas of focus, as well as Project Read. We will be having professional learning for the ESL teachers and Project Read, and then just other things. We're always looking at data. We're always looking at multiple measures to target our instruction with our English language learners, just like we are with all other students, development of curriculum and collaborative decision-making, and making sure that they have the instructional resources that they need. So I just want to thank, this plan was put together very collaboratively, central office administration, principals, teachers, everybody came together to put the plan together. So it was a very collaborative effort to make sure, everyone's voice was heard when making the decisions for our 3-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burt. Okay, committee reports, legislative.
Yeah, we haven't met yet this month, but we do, we're planning on getting something together for
Get
next
us on
month.
the calendar. Good, perfect. Co-curricular technology, Mrs. Kennedy. Student services, Mr. Little.
We haven't met yet.
Okay. Facilities and finance, Mrs. Doherty. Did meet.
So we did meet on the 20th of January. We went over several topics. The first thing that we discussed at the meeting is we have representatives from Brown and Brown, our health insurance broker, attend the meeting via Google Meet to review the performance of the self-insured program since September 1st when we started it, and reviewing preliminary budget guidance for 22-23. In summary, the claims for the period from September to December are within the projected level. The plan is performing as expected up to this point. And Brown and Brown did present documents with details about claim levels and projections for next year, which we have posted in the board portal for the board. Preliminary budget guidance is that the amount that we would need to budget next year for health insurance would be approximately $1 million less than what we budgeted for the current year. But those are preliminary guidance numbers. And as we get more claims in January and February, they will firm up those numbers. They could differ, but we're not expecting a large differentiation. But we're still, some of the things aren't mature yet, are things like rebates and on the prescription plan, and also just seeing, the level of claims. But so far, it's been successful for the few months that we've looked at. So facilities update, we went through several issues. We had some HVAC issues recently at Bayshore and North. There are currently 8 univents down. Those are classroom units at Bayshore and North. Well, there's 8 down at Bayshore, 5 at North. So previously we had been looking to get proposals, or we've been soliciting proposals on 3 units in Bayshore and 5 units at North, but some additional units have also gone down at Bayshore, which will be adding to the scope of those proposals through some of our cooperative purchasing vendors. So at this point, the current lowest proposal for the original 8 units that we were looking at is approximately $216,000. The lead time on those units is expected to be 18 to 22 weeks plus installation time. So we will be refreshing that proposal to include the additional units at Bayshore. And after vetting that, we're hoping to have a recommendation for the board to approve a contract in February so that we can contract for the work and get that started. At this point, the classrooms that don't have the univents going have been given supplemental or temporary heating sources, but when we put the univents back in, we will take those out and we keep those on hand for other areas where we have units that go down. So we also had a network automation engine failure, commonly known as NAE for those in the industry, that caused 70% of the rooftop units to stop functioning for a short period of time, temporarily, a day or two. Our facilities department worked quickly to get a replacement and get the units back up and running. We're also looking at getting a backup unit to address future potential issues, so we would have that in-house to plug in. So that was a temporary issue. We also have continuing work on the Thompson fire alarm system installation. The project is essentially complete. The board did award the work at the December meeting. The project did start over the winter break. Has been progressing at this point. We are expecting inspections to occur shortly. We're trying to get them in on Friday, but we've been working with the township building department to see if we can make that happen. We also updated the committee about submitting an application to the BPU, the Board of Public Utilities. They have a grant funding program called the School and Small Business Ventilation and Energy Efficiency Verification and Repair Program, long name, for 8. We put in to get funding for the univent replacements that we just spoke about a couple minutes ago at Bay Shore and North, as well as 2 rooftop units at Ocean Avenue Elementary that need replacement. One is currently not working, the other one's at end of life. However, after we submitted the application, we were informed that the grant program was oversubscribed. It was open for all districts in New Jersey to put in for, but our application is placed in line for funding if it becomes available. So the way it was explained is they'll review the applications that came in. If things are not qualified or eligible, they will get put aside. So we are in the queue. It's something that can be done as a reimbursement. So we are, while we're moving forward with these projects because we need them to get done, if we are awarded the funding, we could apply that to those projects after we get the funding. The total amount of that funding was $430,000 that we requested. We have been doing some follow-up lead testing. At this point, all of the lead testing is completed. As a result of the testing, we have 3 classroom sinks that will remain labeled as hand washing only. They're not potable water sources. They're not used for drinking. They're clearly marked. There's 1 classroom at Thorne, 1 classroom at Thompson, 1 classroom at Village. We also had a water pipe burst at Nut Swamp on January 18th after the long weekend. Before the students arrived, we had a water pipe burst in the ceiling of a classroom in the Nut Swamp pod that was caused by freezing. This resulted in water on the floor about a ½ inch to an inch in 5 of the classrooms. This was immediately addressed by our facilities department, and we did also call in ServPro to do additional cleaning as well to make sure that everything was addressed properly. Students were temporarily relocated to other spaces in the building, and we are evaluating options to prevent this freezing from occurring again. Apparently, there's some coils that were frozen as part of the water system because there's a hallway in that pod because of the way it was designed. That the outside air does end up getting to those coils, and because it was so cold over the weekend, they did freeze. So what we're looking at is putting in another heating source there so that won't reoccur. We have budgeted projects for duct cleaning, air duct cleaning at the 2 high schools. High School North is already done. High School South, that project started last week. It will take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. And then again, they were in our 21-22 budget. We also talked about staffing. We currently have 12 open facilities positions made up of custodial and maintenance positions. We have been interviewing for custodians. There are several custodians on the agenda this evening to be hired. We will also be moving forward with interviews for some vacant maintenance positions, and we also have some retirement retirements as well. At least one head custodian that we know of is retiring. So we will need to address that as well. We also talked briefly about the 22-23 budget. Mrs. Walker and I gave the committee an overview of the expected and available revenues that we would have to support the 22-23 budget. The committee also discussed some of the major drivers of the budget, such as salaries and benefits. We will be having our first public 22-23 budget meeting on February 3rd, which is next Thursday. We have done this in the past few years. We've given the public and the board an overview of what we're looking at as far as the budget for next year and some of the projections that we have already and any information that we have to this point. We will also be doing subsequent budget presentations. We have a workshop meeting in February. We will likely be scheduling some other budget meeting for the public as well as the work that the board's going to do in committee on the individual budget areas. So as we've stated, I think already the tentative budget is due, I believe it's March 20th. So what normally happens is our workshop meeting in March, we turn into a special voting meeting for the board to adopt a tentative budget, which then gets reviewed by the county and finalized at the end of April, early May. We won't have our state aid figures likely till around the third week of February, toward the end of February, after the governor gives his budget address. And that's what we have for facilities and finance.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. Anybody have any questions?
Did we ever get the report from, now it's escaping me, about the mold remediation? Did we ever get the report from the expert?
We did get a report that was actually we reported out last month that we did have a review of that report with the facilities committee as far as recommendations and some of the.
Right, but that report wasn't given to the rest of the board though.
I thought it was posted on the portal, but I'll
I
have
don't
to.
think it was, because I've been
Okay.
looking for it.
All right. Well, okay. All right. I will make sure it's posted
Okay,
to
I
the
didn't think
portal.
so, 'cause I've been
Right.
looking
We
for it and I
did.
couldn't
We did.
find it.
Right. We had Mr. McGinnis into the, if it's not up on the portal, we'll make sure it gets up on
Okay,
the
thank you.
portal. You know what? You are correct. There were a few things that he was going to revise, and I think he
Mhm.
did just recently send it back to me, so I will get it back up on the portal.
Yes. All right, moving on to policy.
Yeah, we did have a very brief policy meeting this month and just talked about some updates to be planned. So Mr. Null wants to talk about that.
Yeah, so we met on January 12th. We had one agenda item and it was to review the new guidance that come out from the New Jersey Department of Health is specifically related to schools. So we reviewed that and then we aligned our practices for isolation and quarantine with what the guidance was from the New Jersey Department of Health, which said that students can return back to school as long as symptoms were resolving on day 6. And quarantine students that were not that were asymptomatic, not showing signs, could also come back on day 6. And that went into effect. I'm not sure. I don't know the date, but very soon after the meeting. That following Monday, I believe. it was.
Tuesday,
I
I
don't
think
know
we
what the
were
date
off
is.
that Monday. It was the following, it was Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Curriculum and instruction, Ms. Farley.
We're meeting next month.
Perfect. Shared services, Ms. Doherty, you want to report anything on that or?
Not
Maybe.
meet this month. I know that we have discussing and there was a press release
Mhm.
about the recreation, the feasibility study for the
Feasibility.
recreation center at the Fort Monmouth site, but we.
Just so everybody's aware, the Port Monmouth feasibility study is only basically looking for if it is a feasible, what we're trying to accomplish. So this company Pinnacle, who we are consulting with, and actually the township actually has them right now doing the work. What they're going to do is go out to several different people and different places that would actually give them some input on what would be best for the facility, what people are looking for and what they are not looking for. So they're going to take that, comprise that in about a month or two. They're going to meet back with the committee to see what we're doing.
I think
They are going to do surveys, yep.
Sorry, or do we plan on talking to the town about security? About, it's called class threes or, topics I think
I think we spoke about that previously, but I think we have to follow up with that.
in shared services,
gonna
right? There's
say-
that's kind of the form it's going to be discussed, right?
We had, our last shared service was in December. Was it December?
We met in December. We didn't meet in January.
It was December was a quick one. It was really talking to Pinnacle about Fort Myers.
Right, no, I'm just saying, like, is it something that's on the, I guess you're saying yes.
On the horizon, I think it's something we have to speak about actually as a board also and see if we want to
Right,
pursue that.
Got
We'll
it.
speak with the township and then we'll come back and report on that. Okay. Personnel, negotiations.
Is that for MTPS?
No, it's just our negotiations. committee.
All right, at this point, we'll like to open the public comment up for agenda items only. Just please step forward, give your name and address and. No one? Okay. Sure.
I'm sorry, can you just, I didn't catch your name.
Thank you. Yes.
Great idea.
We can take that into curriculum.
It's interesting because when we hire teachers, we teach one to tour Middletown. We teach.
Anyone? Yes.
Here for safety. I struggle with saying anything else. Incredible high respect. Substitution every day. And I think now we're talking about spending $40,000 to substitute. Like, that's what the dogs. With that opportunity, I would just like to say that I hope again, but I know too the secret person. But I'm just wondering if there's something that we can be looking at. Like 3 people person who are long-term subs, dual certified special ed, gen ed, who are long-term subs, $180 a day. Out of the hopes of getting a full-time job in this district. And they will be gone next year if they can't, because they can't maintain their household. Have we considered looking at hiring teachers as floaters so we don't lose these people that we've now had in our district for potentially 6 4 or 5 months. Principals, and we know their reputation of proven quantities at this point. So I'm just thinking, is there any way to look outside of the box? Again, my math could be wrong. I tried to back up for spring break and things like that. But we can hire people to cover these positions. So that was just my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Yes.
I just want to remind the board that you need to speak into the microphone so that it will transmit more for home. So if you could just bring your microphone down so that your voice is hitting the microphone, that would help the sound at home.
Okay, moving on to the proclamation. Amy, did you want to?
Yes, so our first proclamation, our only proclamation for this month, is a proclamation in honor of New Jersey School Board Recognition Month. And we do have several whereases, but we will cut to the chase and iterate that this resolution resolves that the Middletown Board of Education and Administration recognizes the contribution of our Board of Education to the academic success of its public school students and expresses its sincere appreciation to our Board of Education members for their continued focus on the achievement of children throughout Middletown Township. And be it further resolved that the Middletown Township Board of Education encourages qualified Middletown Township citizens to consider serving as members on their school board. So this is in recognition of School Board Recognition Month.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes, executive session, December 13th, 2021, workshop, regular voting meeting, December 13th, 2021, executive session, January 5th, 2022, and reorg meeting, January 5th, 2022.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Discussion?
I have to stay on the 2 December ones.
A report of the president. Right, I'd like to start by saying that to all of our staff, teachers, administration, nurses, bus drivers, everyone, a big, great thank you for what you have been accomplishing these past few weeks in this district. We have seen several districts across the entire state, somewhere in the realm of like 35 to 40% that were not in person and were actually home, virtual and remote, closing down. And the effort that everybody put in here is incredible. So a round of applause for you all and thank you all very much. Some breaking news that actually everybody will hear about tomorrow from the mayor. The Safe Routes to School and the $1 Million Grant. Just keep your eye out for a lookout. It's all good stuff. Report. Amy, you have anything to report on?
Nothing to report, just the financial reports for the month of December and the bill list. We have items 1 through 4 for the board to review and approve. So we need a motion in a second.
Need a motion to approve items 1 through 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Discussion? Now we'll go to Mrs. Walker, report of superintendent.
Yeah, I just want to, I have a couple of things, but I wanted to start out, since it is the New Jersey School Board Recognition Month. On behalf of the administration team and myself, I want to express our sincere gratitude to our board members for their hard work, their contributions, and dedication to our students, our staff, and our school community. And I want the whole community to know that our board, who are unpaid volunteers, spend many long evenings each month in committee meetings with our administrative team reviewing important issues, discussing and sharing their perspective and, asking for questions and just trying to get a handle on what's going on. These meetings are not short meetings, and there's many of them a month. They dedicate many hours communicating with district administrative leaders and reviewing the documentations we share with them in addition to the meetings. They really are active participants in the governance of our schools, and that is greatly appreciated. Our board members have made a large time commitment and have demonstrated their dedication to ensuring our students are provided with the highest quality education. The administration team and I thank you for your leadership and commitment to our students, staff, and community. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I also did want to bring up, we started a conversation last board meeting about the 22-23 calendar. And the board had asked specifically about professional development days for MTEA certificated staff and asked us to put out a survey. So we did that survey, and we asked staff if they would rather have their professional development days in August or the week in November that typically is off for staff and students. Students on the calendar that was approved still have that week, that November week off, but staff were scheduled to come in the first 3 days, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, which are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Approximately, there were 593 teachers that responded, which is very high since Bridget actually got the exact number of certificated staff at 904. So that was a very good sample size. 58.5% of the staff had requested the days in August over the days in November, and 35.4% had preferred the days in November, and then a small percentage had no preference. There were comments. The comments basically explained why they wanted one date or the other. There were childcare issues. The staff members that wanted it in August felt it was more important to have it at the beginning of the year. Many of them wanted to preserve the November break, so they'd rather come in, and then others would prefer not to come in the summer at all and just use the November break. There were also concerns of, the quality of PD that was going to be presented. We had said last month, that we really have not had PD in a few years. And so that was actually expressed. And there was concerns at why there had to be 3 professional days in a row. And the reason for that is there's many professional development or training that are, staff needs that requires when we take these, they're outside presenters. They do it for 3 to 5 days. We have to ask them to shorten some of them to 3 days, but they come in 3 days in a row. They will not do it sporadically. They're busy. They're in demand. So 3 days in a row, maybe not for everybody, because not everybody needs this training. There's quite a few of the trainings that are like that, but maybe not everybody needs those trainings. So, I can understand why they would feel that they don't want it that way. But, our thinking was that how do you break it up so that some of the teachers have to come 3 days in a row and other teachers can come, just a few times throughout the year. So that's why we had put on the calendar that it was 3 days in a row. And that was pretty much the major comments, the ones that were repeated over and over again on the survey. So, and I had shared that survey with the board and the comments, and I kind of broke them down into general categories, as much as I could. So we thought we would have a continuation of our discussion on should we change the calendar or should we not change it?
So I believe in the committee, I had brought up a point of possibly offering a choice to teachers, which would be, like Mary Ellen was saying, the professional staff that was coming in to do the PD would come in August for those 3 days. If somebody really couldn't do it in August, vacation, whatever that time may be, or they were sick, possibly they can do it in November. So we give them a choice of doing it in August with the professional staff coming in and in November by doing it with teachers.
The turnkey.
Yes.
PD, and some wouldn't even be available as turnkey, but we would offer them something else.
What is
Yeah, that
professional?
was-
mean? Sorry.
Yeah, there may be something that you can't, yeah, it needs the outside presenter, then we would substitute something else.
But what if that teacher needed that particular?
Then they
training
would have
that's
to go
not-
into,
They would have no
they would
choice
have to
but
go
do
in
that.
August, yeah.
It's just giving them an option. It's a choice. You know, a lot of people didn't want to go to August. They want to keep in November. So that option is on the table. It's just not going to be with people who are bringing in to do the service.
Yes.
That's a 5-day. But that's a. Right. But the teachers required to see that.
So in August, there'll be outside professionals giving, giving the training. If there's certain required training for you, depending on what your role is, you have to come in August. And the turnkey will be, if you don't want to come in August.
Or is
And
anybody
you don't
required?
want
What-
to, and you don't have to, then you will have the option.
All right, and is there a notification? I guess I can work that all
Oh,
out.
we have to work this out. This will be a little bit of a.
It kind of just came
logistical-
up, so we're kind of
maneuvering,
trying
but-
to
yeah.
anticipate what the potential problems may be.
Yeah.
Okay.
About contractually. What about contractually with the teachers coming in before September 1st?
The calendar is your visual plan. So, and I don't know if your contract says. That's a policy, educational policy decision.
So it would be all based also, Leonora, on.
I know he said I want it again and again because for 18 years I've been told it wasn't allowed. So I must be getting dementia.
Something
Bruce,
is
I think
wrong.
that that
This
ruling
was
is
a-
pretty
This was a
recent.
newer ruling, right?
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
pretty recent rule.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was all over here.
So we'll take 5 years off that, so only for the last
Feel
8
so
years or
much
so.
better.
So how is this gonna pan out for us if we're telling some people that they have to come in August because it's mandated, and we're giving other people a choice? Is that gonna be
So-
like a contractual
That's what I was just
issue?
going to ask, Sean. Who is the mandated staff that has to come in for the August?
Oh, well, we'll have to compile that list. And we are waiting to get a definitive answer on these dates so we can contract with the professional development providers. Because right now we just have days on hold and we're kind of holding two spots. Some providers aren't available in November. So the August dates, which is when we met with the calendar committee, I think we expressed that. Like August is more ideal because most presenters are more readily available then. November is a tough week. Holidays such as Columbus Day and President's Day are tough days because a lot of districts use those for professional development. And we've often been put on 5 to 10 year wait lists for some of these presenters because of that. So August is more possible. There's more possibilities, but we haven't contracted with anyone yet. Can't until you approve the calendar.
I think going by the August, it's going to move a lot depending on when Labor Day falls. So it could be a possibility these days may fall on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, possibly 1 year of September. But given the option right now, let's see how it works out, I think, and I think that's the best idea for.
So what happens if they don't attend August and they don't attend November?
So
I'm confused to how it's gonna work. So some teachers are going to
So the
either opt to or have to go in August, and then the rest of the teachers have to go in November. So we're gonna like have the school open for 3 days, but some teachers have off. I just don't understand.
The schools are opened anyway. Administrators are in.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in terms of like, I mean, I don't know how it really would work from like a contractual perspective, like that some teachers are.
Teachers are contracted for 187 days. So each teacher will work, will be
It's just
scheduled
doubled
for
into
187 days. somewhat of 3 of them will be in either August or November. This is new to us, so.
And I just want to clarify, because I expressed some concerns when this idea was brought up. You know, I
Yeah.
was, it interested me, so I was thinking it through as you were talking about it, Mr. Capone, meeting. But there will be complications, and I don't want it to be perceived, it would be wrong to give the perception that this is going to be something that's going to be offered to a vast majority of teachers. The vast majority of teachers will need to attend in August. I just want to make that clear, because the commitment to the professionals we're bringing in and the cost to the district to bring these professionals in is substantial, and it can't be replicated as easily, you know, by using turnkey trainings. And we all, as a curriculum department team, we all read through the comments, and we agreed with some of the comments that teachers were making. And it was actually points that we brought up. You know, a lot of our initiatives have been delayed. We haven't been able to provide a lot of out-of-district professionals to come in because of the dates that our PD days were falling, you know, in recent years. So they were, you know, upset about that. You know, and we agree. We want to provide them with those opportunities. So it is not going to be likely that we will be able to bring in the outside presenters in November.
Just keeping in mind, we're here for a reason, because they wanted August and there was a lot of backlash from that. So now we're offering August, like we're saying, a lot of teachers have to come in August. I think that's a big overwhelming number that's going to be coming in August anyway. So by offering them in November, that is an option.
When possible.
Yes, if allowed. We have to vote on the calendar.
Yes, so you're gonna have to vote on the change to add August as
August as the professional.
Well, I also just want to clarify that those 3 days are not the only professional development days in the calendar. If you look at the calendar, there are other days that we had, that would make that whole week either professional development or preparation, right? And then there's typically time at the end of the year. But I also just want to remind the board and the community and you know, teachers that we also have 9 days during the school year where their day is extended for professional development, so they stay after school. In our last negotiations, you know, that was agreed upon, and that eliminated the need to do the early dismissal days in many cases that had become frequent in the calendar on Wednesdays. So there are other professional development days throughout the year.
And I just request that when we do this, we word it, I just thought of this now, this would make it easier, I think, but correct me if I'm wrong, that we add, that we change the professional development days to the 29th, 30th, and 31st of August, but teachers can request November 7th, 8th, and 9th, and if possible. Does that sound logical, because then it's less, it's more like.
I think we'll be able to notify them if it's possible, because again, it's not going to be.
Okay, but they may not want it. They may want, even though, you know, they may, most of them wanted August anyway. You know, so I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily what they want though in many cases. So it's going to be what is necessary. And
Well,
what
that's
is
why I
scheduled.
say, we'll say August, and then they can request 7th, 8th, or 9th if August doesn't work. And we'll let them know. It's not that their request is going to be automatically approved. If it's appropriate, then we can move them to November. That way we can assume that they're all in August and they request and they will be approved or not approved based on their particular circumstance, that they can go to November, you know. Yeah, okay. I just want to make it clear because, well, this is a board approved calendar. So I want to make it clear so that teachers don't think they absolutely have a choice and say, no, the choice is I'm choosing November. And you know, we have to be.
Why-
I don't want to give them any false, you know.
This is not the final, this is unchanged. This is what we have approved already, right?
Right, this is what we
Version.
have approved already.
So this is not proposed changes on here, right?
It's going to go back to the
this is
29th, 30th, and 31st.
All right, so why don't you just put professional development on? If you're afraid they're going to make a mistake, just put professional development and they'll know through whatever channels you have that if they are allowed to, they can, you know, do November. Correct. I mean, right? Because I don't think this is, I don't think this is binding.
Days as, because we already have November 7th, 8th, and 9th on.
No, this is the old one.
You approved the
This is
22nd and
approved,
23rd.
yes.
We approved the old one.
This is approved.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, but
Now we're gonna-
I
right.
think based upon Frank's suggestion now, you're gonna have to keep 7th, 8th, and 9th
Yes.
on,
Yes.
No
Yeah.
matter what.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
So 7th, 8th, 9th, so
So
we're
now
just
you
adding
have
the
to make
29th, 30th,
29th, 30th,
31st.
31st, the other 3 days.
But there has to be a note on there somehow that they're not required to. Go to the
Right, but from the survey, the professional staff coming in is going to be the 29th, 30th, 31st. That's what we're voting on.
Right. I just wanted to point out, this is the old version.
Somebody can see. 6 days.
They wanted us.
No. Oh, they could, yeah.
So
Would
they
that
want,
affect their 187?
No, they do
Oh,
that. No.
that's a
They
good
would
question.
not count as their.
If they come in August and November, get out early.
Yeah.
Mr. Padula, I'm just kind of trying to think this through as this is evolving quickly. In most cases, when there are extenuating circumstances, that's the language that is prevalent in the MTEA contract when they're asking for something different than what is required or scheduled for them by the calendar. They usually have to fill out an extenuating circumstance form. Personally, I think putting all of these days, marking them on the calendar as professional days will be confusing. I would say we typically from Human Resources send out at the beginning of the year and remind them that there are these extenuating circumstances that may exist, and here's the form to request permission or consideration. I think if this calendar is revised, it should probably note the 29th, 30th, 31st, the 1st and the 2nd as green professional days. I would personally, I would not keep the 7th, 8th, and 9th of November as green. I think that would be very confusing. I think in the memo that comes from Human Resources, I'll make sure that my successor knows this, if this is what everyone agrees to, it would be noted that if you're going to apply or submit a request for an extenuating circumstance or professional development in August, these are the days that may be available. Your request will be reviewed to see if that is possible, something to that extent. But I wouldn't include all those days.
Yeah, but do you have to do extenuating circumstances, or they can just have a choice unless they're required?
It's not a little bit of an administrative nightmare to have everyone having a choice.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Choice is going to be an added burden to the district and a cost. That means we're going to have to pay teachers who aren't obligated to be there on those days. Their pro rata rate, as Vera has pointed out to us, can be costly to be presenters on those days because they're not required to be there. And if they're the turnkey trainers, now there is a cost to the district to offer that. So I think it's going to have to be, very heavily weighed and scrutinized and see what's possible, feasible, and financially also realistic for us.
No,
to
I'm
incur.
asking because we said we're giving them a choice, but now you're not really. So
Can I
that's,
say
that's my
something?
point. We're saying
By
it's
by
not.
the teachers doing it, the turnkey in November, it's a fraction of the cost of what we're paying normally for the professional presenters to come in. When I say fractionally, it was about 10 or 15% of the cost.
No, but I'm asking, like, are we saying you can do August?
Yes.
But if you don't want to, and
Well,
you're not required,
extenuating circumstances.
oh, you
been
need
brought up.
extenuating
If you
circumstances in
couldn't do
November.
August,
That's different than what you said
Correct.
before.
Yeah,
You
they-
said if they weren't required, they could choose.
Okay, but
Yeah.
wait
I
a
think
minute.
we're talking it
If you-
through. So,
We're talking it through, but if Kim says there's requirements for certain teachers, then that's a requirement
If-
that no one can really do.
Do you realize by us okaying this, we have 12 teachers that have this circumstance. We're gonna pay whatever the cost is to have somebody come in and teach them.
Well,
No, it's an
Kim's point is the more teachers that choose November, the more presenters we're going to have. If there's 12,
and what
we
happens if
can-
there are 12 in 12 different areas?
I
What
would,
happens if that happens?
I would just respectfully say we should probably avoid using the word
Why
choice or
can't we make
choose.
a decision one way or the
Yes, I-
other?
I agree.
That's our job. One way or another, and that's their job. No offense, I'm sorry. I like, just let's make it, if we're gonna do August, let's do August.
I'm just trying to make
If we're
the
gonna do
teacher's life a
something
little
November, we
easier.
I know we want to please everybody, but you know what? Sometimes we gotta make the tough decisions.
So the survey came back, obviously, Nora, it was different than what we
And the
previously
survey
did.
said
This
58%
50, so,
August.
so if there's 1,000 teachers, 580 said August and 420 still said November. So.
That's
even-
not what I
so
have in
we-
these numbers. I'm sorry. That's it. Like it was a presidential election. Somebody won, somebody lost. We have to go. We have to make a decision.
We're not
This isn't-
presidentials
and
here, so.
Financially, it doesn't make sense what we're doing. On a calendar, I don't know.
It might cause a lot of animosity, but
So does the board have a consensus just to put it to August?
Well, you have these discussions, right? You vet out and you talk through your options.
I'm trying to make everybody, a little bit.
I vote for August. That's what people like.
I just think like. A calendar committee meeting, that's not the union. I know it's on that, right? We had the union recommendation, we voted on that.
But that didn't work.
Then we got backlash and we changed it,
Every-
we went back into the survey, now we have. results of
Every
that
year, the
survey.
calendar is a mess, right? Every year, there's an issue, right? Every time you think there's not going to be, whether it's this, that, or I'm telling you, every year I've been here, it's been same thing, right? Calendar's done, someone didn't hear, right? It's always tough just of the timing when it's done, the new board. So trust me, every year, next year, same thing. I guarantee.
So this is normal.
To me, it's
No,
been,
it
yeah.
isn't normal because we don't get to talk about it this much. It's put in front of us that
Well,
we
this is
just
be-
have
this is
to.
be- This is
This
better.
is
yeah.
the first time we
So
had
make
choice.
note, this board tried doing the best
Yes,
for
you
everyone.
did, Frank.
Okay?
You
That's all I wanna know.
absolutely
And it's
did.
always
Now
around
let's
November.
move forward
November's
now
always
and
the issue
vote
for
on the
somebody.
28th,
This is the
29th,
most
30th,
we
and
ever
31st.
talked about the calendar.
All right, so August, we're saying August, and we're not gonna talk about. choice.
29th, 30th, and 31st.
That's
right.
it.
They will be added as green along with the first and the second, which were already for preparation and professional days.
That's it.
Yeah, I just
Amy.
want to, because someone mentioned choice. And this is great.
Amy, do we need a roll call on this?
Amy, was
29th,
it on the
30th,
agenda?
and
The
31st.
calendar is actually not on the agenda for
Somebody would
tonight.
have to move to put it on.
I make a motion to
Somebody-
vote
yeah.
on the calendar.
So moved.
We need, we need second.
Second,
You're getting out ahead of me here. Let me write this.
Now we can vote.
And not to speak about it for another 9 months or something.
Next week.
So we'll say motion on calendar, school calendar as revised.
As per the survey.
Right. And Mrs. Menuez, you made the motion?
Yes.
And who seconded?
I seconded.
Okay, Mr. Capone. Discussion, I think we have that covered.
I think that was
take the
settled.
call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's like we have
Okay.
a revised count.
Okay, now, I also put in front of you, don't yell at me, the 21-22 current calendar. Because last month, there was also discussion about, we've already used 2 of our emergency days. So if you look at the calendar, the 24th, that Friday is now the last day for students. And teachers are, they go come the 27th and 28th. So there was talk about maybe taking some days that we have off the calendar so that staff and students come in. There's 3 options for you if you decide to do that. There's President's Day, which is February 21st. There's spring break, and there's Memorial Day. Those are the only 3 options. Now, I also want to tell you, because one of the concerns was that staff would be, right now, are into the 28th. In the past, and as I said before, staff work 187 days contractually. That's the most they can work. We can reduce that in the past based on circumstances. We have. It is not unusual for staff and students to end the same exact day. That is not a problem for us. We deal with that. So, as it stands, if you wanted to, we could actually make the 24th the last day for staff and students and not change the calendar, or change the calendar in combination with that, or not do that and change the calendar. There's a couple options for you. to
Do they
do.
need-
Another snow day.
Right.
Where we're messed up. It's gonna change the calendar again.
Right.
And it's gonna make us go longer, so aren't we better off trying to use something?
Well, between now and when you can, make another change, the only day that you really have to worry about it is President's Day. So if you're thinking about using President's Day, that's something you should be acting on tonight. If you're not thinking about President's Day, you want to wait it out a little bit, see what February brings. The April, break is a little far off. Right now, you're going to, but Kim had explained this when we were in calendar committee. The 21st is a federal holiday, and staff have the right to take that day off. Many staff members and students like I'm sure some of our families have trips for that weekend.
Yeah.
So, we will see
People ski.
an attendance issue, I'm sure. Again, in April, there's a week that many people have also planned vacation, so you're also gonna see that, so just, and bringing that to your attention.
What do you think about just keeping it as it is right now, the last day of the 24th for the students and teachers?
Do teachers need a day to break down things, or they're just gonna walk out the same day?
Now the breakdown is,
I'm
Well, the student- That's why the early dismissal days are in there at the end of the year. They're already doing that.
It's early dismissal, yeah.
All right, I'm just asking. I mean, they don't need
They'll
like
be
extra
breaking
day.
it down.
This has happened
But
before.
if the teachers want to
This has
come,
happened a couple times in the last 2 years.
but if the teachers want to come in after the 24th, they could still
And
come
they
in.
do.
Now you
Okay.
want to, now you want to give them a choice? Okay.
No, I didn't give them a.
No. They can, and
Now
they
you give them
do.
a choice to come in next week.
They do.
They'll come in if they
All
want
right,
to
so
come
why
in.
don't,
I'm fine
if
with that.
everybody agrees, you want to keep it the 24th for the teachers and the students. Good?
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
I do.
If there's snow day, a snow day, it goes to, no, it goes to the 27th at that point.
25th is 25th is going to be some low attendance. I'll tell you that.
I think we have.
25th is Saturday.
Are we okay with the 27th if we have a snow day?
I,
Because
I,
that's where we go.
I think right now to start taking
No, I
President's
think-
Week off and other days, I think that people might have plans already,
Yeah,
so,
I think we should just roll the dice.
right.
Hopefully
We've
the
been doing a
buses can
great
get through
job
the
so
snow.
far. We've been lucky, so let's continue on. So
Well, we
Makes
have
sense to
snow
me.
for this weekend, but it's the weekend.
Saturday.
so-
Saturday.
I mean, I just think, I'm not saying that that's what we should do. That we need to find 7th, and you're gonna have a lot of teachers and students that have plans for whatever they're doing.
Well, that's on the calendar. It's already noted on the calendar for staff that those are snow days that will be added back in, and they are,
Speaking of that wording, when we talked to you at the calendar, put on the calendar that we're gonna take off the wording that snow days will be made up at the end of the year. This way gives the board an option to change it if we have snow days.
but you always have the option to change it. You have to tell staff
Wording,
something.
No, because you always tell us
Because
that
they get
you can't.
vacation. They book vacation
have-
during
They
Easter
read
week.
the calendar.
But then if you don't tell them, they will book vacation at the end of the year. You have to in your calendar, you have to.
Okay,
build
maybe
in-
you should say, don't book vacation because we
well,
don't know
you
what's
can't-
going on.
You can't say that.
But no, I mean,
You
really,
have
like,
to say something. You have to give them a plan on how it's going to be made up.
Snow days will be made up.
Okay, and so then teachers will say, they don't know what's convenient. They'll book vacations at the end of the year or during break, or you have to, if the intention is to take it off during break, then we should
Well,
say
in
that.
this instance, you're saying 27th, 28th could be snow days if we
Yeah,
sign off on.
absolutely.
So in other words, it has to
Through
be
the
in here
30th.
that those 2 days, if there's a snow day, that's going to happen. So you'll
Yeah.
tell them here,
For
and
this
for
year,
for this year,
yeah.
for this year, being very
If
specific.
you read the little yellow blurb, it tells teachers exactly when, and
Right.
parents, that exactly when snow days will be made up.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
fine with the
Alright, so-
24th, like moving it down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as long as they know those 2 days might be.
believe we're going to
Back to
change it for the
business.
teachers to get out the same
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
as the
That's right.
students on
Yeah,
the
And
24th.
we always just
And just
adjust.
tell them
so-
the 27th, 28th, they might have to come back in.
Do we need a roll call, Amy, or?
No, you
No?
just need a
Good.
motion and a second.
Motion to approve, calendar 21, 22.
Second.
Discussion?
So-
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, now we're gonna talk about the 23.
What?
Okay, report of super, okay, 2 through 5 on C. Motion to approve,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
How much was that number 2?
Abstentions? 14, student services B1 through just B, that's it. 2, yes.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Curriculum and instruction. 1 and 2, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Finance, 1 through 5,
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Student activities, 1. Motion to approve. Discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Personnel, 1 through 19. Motion to approve.
And I just want to point out, there are items on the addendum as well. There's items 21 and 20 and 21.
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry, Amy,
addendum,
yes. So 1 through 21, how about that?
Including the addendum.
Yep, motion to approve.
So moved. No, I didn't have to.
Discussion,
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Mr. Heffernan. You were the first.
Nobody,
I'll second that.
we didn't get to it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going on the record that I do not agree with the job description, number 17. And I am definitely opposed to number 18. After all the issues that we've had with mold, fire watches, and the money we spent, I'm totally against this promotion.
any other discussion?
I think we should be waiting for the new director. So take a roll call or you would
Well, then let's vote from 1 through,
You could vote on all of them, and then if somebody wants to abstain on any particular item or
Okay.
vote no, just indicate that at the time of the call.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed on 17 and 18.
I'm
Abstention?
opposed 17, 18, 19, and 21.
Abstentions?
I'm abstaining on number 21.
Just so the record is clear, you're both yes on everything else other than.
Yes.
New business, anyone? Old business?
I just want to raise a bit, when are we going to finalize our meeting schedule for the rest of this year?
So I did ask everybody who is a chair to please put in theirs. Oh, you mean for the? for this?
No, I mean
Oh, I'm
for
sorry.
us. for
Okay,
board
so
meetings.
right now we have February on the calendar, and by next meeting, we should have more dates for March. Carry on.
Are we doing workshops?
So we're trying
Or is that
to work with the library as many dates they have available. If we could, we will, but right now, we just don't have. dates. So Amy, maybe
If
by
the
this
board
week. we
would
can-
prefer, we can see how far out we can go
Mhm.
after March.
If we can go to April right now, that'd be great.
I can discuss and see how far ahead, we can get dates.
Good.
I mean, I would prefer that because I'm going to have conflicts coming up very soon. And so I want to be able to be here for the meeting. So the more that we can plan this out ahead of time, the better.
You
No,
good for
that's fine,
April?
we're taking direction from the board. So
Yeah.
if the board would like to
You good until
request this
April, Deb?
facility for as many
Deb?
meetings as we can, we will do that.
Everything is opening back up, which means I'm going to start traveling again for work. I have no choice. So
Okay, good. All right, yeah, we'll look for April for next meeting we have.
Well, we'll discuss with them how far out they'll let us get.
Good.
And for new business, before it gets wild on social media, I'm not going to be here February 3rd. I have a family obligation that I'm not going to miss. So it's not for any other reason but a family obligation. Now it gets wild out there.
Anything else? Good.
I have old business.
Whole business? Okay.
Mary Ellen, in your superintendent update, you talked about Sustainable New Jersey and how High School North has applied for it, the grant.
Last month.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I remember well before COVID that our goal was to get more schools involved and more schools on. And we also assigned that to the facilities director to make sure that that happened. Nothing has happened since then. And from what I'm reading in your update, the only one that has applied for Sustainable New Jersey is High School North.
And we actually spoke to the principals. We had 5 other principals who were on board, and that was like in November, December. But when the first, when you had to apply for the first time was in January, and that's when we were having all the problems with COVID went really high, and we had all the staffing and busing problems. The principals just felt that this year, you have to get staff buy-in, you have to have meetings with staff and your parents. They just didn't see the possibility of being successful.
But that's why we assigned it. We assigned it a few years back before COVID, so there was plenty of time. And
Well, can I just also interject that the program actually has changed too. They've merged what used to be Future Ready Schools with the Sustainable Jersey for Schools. And it's a different program than it was a few years ago. So it encompasses a lot of different areas. So
Well, I understand, and I would excuse all the schools that have taken on the inclusion grants. That's a big responsibility. I wouldn't expect that, but no matter if COVID went up in January and it was due in January, it could have been done before that. We were promoting that. We're doing a great job with one school, and High School North has done an outstanding job with it, but we haven't expanded it in years.
I agree, and we were working to get that, but it wasn't just in January that we were having trouble with staffing and busing. That was starting at really right after we came back from break in November. And these schools, they were excited about it. And they were upset that they couldn't do it, but they weren't getting staff buy-in. And this is something at this moment, because of all the stress on the schools.
I understand and I appreciate the principals and the stress, but I'm going back before you, and I guess Mrs. Gallagher knows whatever, but are there evaluations and stuff that people drop the ball on this stuff? Because there was plenty of time before COVID to get our schools on target.
If you're going
with that.
back before me, I can't speak on
I
that.
think we need to look into that because that's somebody's assigned something that wasn't.
But I don't even know who was assigned.
Well, there's a list. I'm sure you have a list in the superintendent's office. There's committees that directors and principals and everybody are assigned to every year. So I'm sure it's available to find.
Well, it has to be a collaborative effort between across the district. It's not just one department. I mean, it involves
But we put a person
policies,
in charge
it
of
involves facilities, it involves.
I'm not aware of what.
We put a person in charge that I would have hoped that they would accomplish it. Director of Facilities. It was underhand.
Facilities right now, so-
Well, we're talking about now. I'm talking about when it should have been done before COVID. It was supposed to be done before COVID.
COVID's been going on.
Yeah, I know. I'm well aware. And I'm well aware how much time we had to improve it. And it didn't get done.
Well,
It's
like we
fine,
also
but I
said,
mean, we should-
they actually changed the program. Mrs. Burt, you probably, it's a year ago or? Right.
If they could, kind of address it like, we could work on it like over the summer coming up. So that way, like the summer, there's a little bit more downtime, so they can plan it out appropriately. They just didn't want to do like a halfway, job on it.
Like I said, I understand that part, especially during COVID, but like you said, it only changed from Future Ready to Sustainable New Jersey a year ago. We assigned people more than a year ago before COVID to address this issue. And it hasn't changed. Status has stayed the same. That's my
Because we've
issue.
had COVID for the last 3 years. I mean,
Mary
looking
Ellen,
forward,
you're not
I'm really
listening
not
to
sure what
me.
your point is. What is your point?
Is we assign someone like we did every year for Future Ready and Sustainable New Jersey, we assign people to do that job before COVID. They had plenty of time before COVID to increase it. I understand all during COVID. I don't expect a lot, but we're still,
But that person
nowhere.
is here right now. So I'm confused. That's what's confusing.
Well, they're not here now, but maybe they were here before COVID.
So they were here 4 years ago. I
But
don't
the
know
nature
now.
of the program requires,
I don't
it's,
think
again,
that
it's,
person was in the position.
it's
4
an
years ago.
it requires the whole district
Yes.
You know
to
what
be
I
represented.
suggest as the superintendent, you go back and you look at the history of everybody who was assigned, especially Sustainable New Jersey, and you find out how long that it's been under the carpet. That's all. I think that, after COVID, I'm sure we're gonna see a lot better, but we should have saw better before.
So Amy, let's maybe take this back into finance and facilities and maybe speak about this. And
That's all I'm saying. I think High School North is doing Middletown a great service by keeping up with theirs.
Yeah, we will look
We'll
into it.
look
I
into it.
just also want to mention that on the district level, the district level does work on this also, and that supports the schools. Like, it's a points process. There's so many actions that you have to do, and the schools get points for district initiatives that are completed. And we have been working on them, and we've provided that to High School North so that they could get points for it. We've submitted that to the state. So it's not that nothing's going on. It's just, right now there's been a lull, and we do expect that next year that we'll be back and have many, many schools,
Are you saying that
applying.
central office gave High School North the initiatives to get the?
No, I am not saying that. I'm
No,
saying
but
High
there's
School
things that
North,
have to be done
has
at
to
the
make
district
sure.
level to
Listen,
support their
every
application
school needs
certification.
to submit their own application. And that application is what the actions they've taken and, evidence towards gaining these points. But they can gain points from district initiatives. And so we have to do the same thing at the district level. So they have individual action items they have to maintain, and then they get points for district. They could not even make the, they couldn't make the benchmark if the district wasn't doing their part. So we have to do our part for the schools to even have a chance of getting this certification. And so I'm telling you that the district is working on their part. High School North is working on their part. We did have principals that really wanted to do it. They bought into it. They, were excited about it. But just what happened between November and the time that it was submitted, they just felt that they did not have the capacity at that time to do it and do it right. They're going to do it next year. That's
Like
what
I
they
said
told us.
before, I'm okay with the during COVID part. I'm not okay with the time that we lost before.
so let's just look into that. Okay. Anybody else hold business? Business? Okay, let's open up to public comment. Anybody wishing to make a comment, please step forward, state your name and your address.
Frank Molina, Middletown. On the topic of masks, as you know, Governor Murphy's latest public health emergency is due to expire in about 2 weeks. I ask you to consider publicly issuing your own plan to make masks optional at that time, similar to what some DOEs have done on Long Island and New York. Hopefully, the governor will not extend the orders again. But if he does, how long can we go on like this? It's almost 2 years, and there's been very little change on this policy, especially when it comes to mask mandates. If anything, they've become more restrictive. As our elected officials, I urge you to consider taking action to allow parents to have the option, even if the governor continues the mandates. Perhaps you can connect with other BOE members from other districts. The developmental delays and speech impairments caused and worsened by masks are coming to light. And I believe this will be one of the long-lasting negative effects of these mandates. The governor will at some point be out of office, as well as those setting our policies these days. But the children who are experiencing developmental delays may never fully recover or overcome them. As a father of a special needs son, this is what keeps me up at night. Because of this, we pulled our son from the district. We have had enough. So I ask you, when will you have enough? How can we push this forward to help the children? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make a public comment? State your name and address for the record. Thank you.
I am Jolie Toth, 18 Carriage Drive in Middletown. I thank all of you guys for spending so much volunteer time. I do appreciate it. It was nice to have that appreciation. So I just have a really quick to agree with that gentleman about masks, and possibly would suggest maybe submitting a resolution to end the mask as soon as governor's state of emergency ends on February 10th. From the data from the New Jersey COVID site, looks like school outbreaks have gone up this year as opposed to last year, and it's only January. And so it's like the masks just aren't working. And even the policy, because I got a call saying my son was exposed, but you're okay, he doesn't have to stay home or anything like that. And we all just had COVID in December. So that seems to make no difference to anybody. So quickly, the rates seem to have dropped dramatically. I was just looking at the New Jersey website. So there seems to be no foreseeable reason why the mandate should not end 30 days from his declaration, which was on January 11th. It cannot go on forever, especially when the ones pushing the masks are out unmasked. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to be clear, our plan does state masks are optional unless required by law. So if it is a law, which it is right now under a public health emergency, masks are required. Does anybody else wish to make a public comment? Just state your name and address for the record.
We're at 16 Baker. I was just curious about if anything's been done to address the mold issue and that's not happening again this summer. So I know we've talked about it, but I don't know if anything has actually been done about it. It's something that's a big concern to me. It's already the end of January. The lead time on equipment, as we just heard, is 18 to 22 weeks. So I'm just curious what we're doing to make sure that doesn't happen again this summer.
When you say mold, Laura, I'm sorry.
To make sure that the mold doesn't come back this summer. So
Oh,
what,
okay.
because we've spoken about the fact that there's HVAC systems in pretty much all the schools are not up to par, not working correctly. So what's going to be done this summer that is different from last summer that, the end of August, we don't have a teacher finding mold again. So I'm concerned if nothing's been done up to this point, that there's a huge risk of something happening over the summer. So I'm just curious if anything has been done or what the plan is for that. Because it's not, parents are not going to, it's not going to be acceptable for this to happen again next year. And I'm really seeing it happening if nothing's been done.
As a parent, I echo what you just said, but yes, the consultant did give us guidelines to abide by, which is going to be shared with our facilities department. And I hope that it never happens again. I agree with you. Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment? As no one's coming forth, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second. No? All in favor?
Aye.